Hello, Ohana. Nick here, former medical doctor turned soul doctor. And I'm going to talk about this upcoming Egypt trip. And I'll probably post this after I complete it because it's noodling. It's noodling about this. And it's going to be challenging for people who might want to come to think that I both know exactly what I'm doing and I have no idea what I'm doing. Um, Today is February 23rd, 2026. It is going to be complete April, May, March, April, May. So it's going to be complete in 3 months. But between now and then, even though I know it's the most important work-based activity that I'm going to do, there's a lot of uncertainties. There's a lot of uncertainties still with the composition, with the team, with the outreach, with everything else like that. With the overall theme message, it's an activation, it's a pilgrimage, it's a breath, it's an experience, it's a remembering, it's an unlearning, it's a living lineage. It really is a calling. Like, it's one of those things that I had to almost channel out, to scream out, to guide myself to before I could actually convince myself that this is something that's really important. Because of all the things, we're looking to move homes, we're looking at our health, we're looking at generating wealth, we're looking at taking care of family, we're taking care of freedom. Why is this so important to spend 2+ weeks away from my family doing something that requires energy, momentum to build into, requires planning, infrastructure, requires risk, all these things, when there's so many other things to take care of? And that's life, isn't it? When there's so many more things to take care of, why do this? When you're wondering about how bills are going to be paid, we're wondering about the economy, we're wondering about the fear, because there's so much fear going on right now. Right now, there's bombings in Mexico from a cartel boss dying, supposedly. There's the buildup of the Iran war. There's the tariffs. There is the eruptions. There's the violence. There's all these bills that are being passed that seem controversial, seem confusing. There's a lot of self-hate, doubt. There's so much local work to be done. There's even for myself, feeling like, oh my God, I'm trapped. Do I have enough time taking care of family? How do I find our own space? How do we move homes? We're looking to move home soon. And there's so many things in the air. Now, why this? And I think that's always the remembrance. Why is something so important? And that every step is just a choice. And if not now, when? And that was the thing. I kept putting it off, thinking I can have something bigger and more important. But if I don't choose what's the most important thing, then the most important things are going to choose me, because that internal freedom that I want is reflected in the external freedom. But if I only try to control the external, I'm not actually taking care of the internal. And so for myself, I'm like, what is the biggest priority thing? Okay, if it's this for me, then everything else is a side quest. But how do I do all the side quests meditatively? Because they're important. Being with family, everything else like that. Moving homes, everything else like that. And how do I do things differently as well? It's the same thing with Egypt. There's so many people that say, this is how you're supposed to run a retreat. This is how you're supposed to bring people in. This is how you're supposed to create your Instagram. This is how you're supposed to post. This is how you're supposed to engage. I'm like, how do I leverage my talents, my skills? And part of it is I have a high trust network of people. And I'm working right now on clearing out my throat chakra to make this more clear. And that's part of the reason I'm doing this video, even for myself. As I'm talking, I'm listening to myself. And that's often the work that I do with people. I both mirror back their words and help them record themselves so that they can hear their own voice. And as they hear it, they can realize the things I'm saying to someone else are the things I most need to say to myself. So that's it. For myself to notice, oh, there's my own fears. There's my own worry of how is this going to either validate or how is this going to redefine my idea of failure? And if I look at it from that lens, then there's only two options. Either I get all the people and this happens and it's a success, or I don't get enough people, it may not happen, it's a failure. Rather than I just get to make a choice, and every step doesn't suddenly mean it's a success or failure. It's just that's the next step. And the first steps were to create it solidly enough that we're clear. The second step is to get the first registrations. The third step is to fill it up as much as possible. And the fourth step is actually go. And until I've actually returned, it hasn't actually happened. So I'm creating and generating evidence for myself. And that's been part of it. And the only reason we've gotten to here is to own all the places I've used space and time and evidence to create what I have. Part of it is just breathing every day for the last few months and actually centering myself, getting in touch with my own feelings. Even right now, I notice as I'm stepping into this, there's a little bit of numbness because there's some things that I'm not accessing. Part of it is speaking it out loud enough. As I speak it out loud enough to enough people, there's that feedback loop that's coming back going, do it, do it, do it. All right. I'm not getting the opposite of that at all from people I trust and love. And part of it is then a reflection of me putting out there saying, this is important to me. And I'm reinforcing that loop. Now I've got to reinforce enough that I can actually draw on the people who are ready to go, and draw on the people who really want to go, may not be ready, but help support them to get themselves over the finish line. And that's such a different way. Help support them to get themselves over the finish line and see who wants to be there first, see who is ready and willing and actually able to apply. And everyone's able to apply. So who's actually applying? If you're not even applying, then there's a piece that you're missing. If you're not applying again and again, then there's a piece that you're missing. And so every day you'll be tracking the applications. That's probably it. Rather than saying signups, it's tracking the applications. Who's actually willing to apply, even if they're not ready yet? Breathe it in, let it go. Making this an experiential process. It's still developing, it's still co-creating, it's still crystallizing. And part of it was guiding people to see themselves go through those activations. That's in the past week, going with a family member through her activations. And every step realizing it's for the next step, for the next step, for the next step. There are going to be activations leading to this. Even for myself, there are moments that I feel supremely confident, and moments that I'm complete doubt and feeling like I'm stuck in a wall and stopped. And how do I keep building up the team? We've had a beautiful founding partner, Matt, a great human design person, Jane, guiding us, and my beloved helping to guide this process, to seed this process, to notice the blocks that are there. And then through all this, there's so many other things that are moving in life, and life does not stop. Life does not stay static. Life does not stay still. I'm balancing safety. I'm balancing desire. I'm balancing activation. I'm balancing pilgrimage. I'm remembering about comfort, remembering about my gifts, and also remembering the gifts of others that are bringing this together. So we've got the parts in place. Let's start moving things. And that actually requires sending out an email. That actually requires posting. So these things are practice for me, less about the results first, more about the action that I take. And then we can take a look at how do we take a look at that feedback loop of results. How do we not look at one post, one thing being like, oh, we destroyed it? Because there's going to be more and more opportunities. And the people that really want to come will still find a way to overcome any barriers I put in place, as long as I keep stepping up and coming back to the table over and over and over again. So I'm going to keep coming back to the table. It's time to be in action. Thank you, sunshine. Thank you, morning. Thank you, sunlight. Thank you for the problems I do have. And they're really good problems to have. Thank you to the world for the problems that are there. Thank you for the insights and the awareness. Thank you for a clearing of the Akashic records. Thank you for the honors that are bestowed. Ciao for now.